Hello. Looks like this is dark today. I really don't understand why, but hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are joining me from this beautiful, beautiful day. How are we all doing? How is it at your end? Do let me know how is it at your end. Let me just confirm that my mic is working. Sometimes it's working. Okay. Yes, it's working. Okay, so welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am and I will remain your personal guide on this journey of growth. How are you doing? How is everything with you? How has the past week been? It's been 1 week since we were here, of course. So, how has it been? What have you been doing? Um, excuse me. Wow, sorry, excuse me. So what have you been doing? How is it with you? How is your family? How is work? How is ministry? Whatever it is that you have been doing, how is it with you? Um, Welcome once again to Growth Habits with Ngozi. As I always say, I am your personal guide on this journey of growth, and I remain your personal guide on this journey of growth. And I don't just lead you on this journey. No, I go beyond that. I don't just lead you. Okay, just give me a second. All right, so I don't just lead you on this journey. I've said this before, and I know that it's beginning to sound a little cliche, but it is the truth. I don't just lead you on the journey, I go on the journey with you. As you learn, I learn. From the things I even say sometimes, I learn. From the questions, from the comments you make in the live session, from the comments you make afterwards, I learn. So I encourage you to always engage. Don't just watch and waka pass, as they say. Always comment, because the things that you say help me. I learn from it and I grow from it. And if there's anything really that an idea you have, something you think that will help, do let me know. I am always open to receive insight, to receive advice. I'm always open. So do let me know of anything you think we can do better than we're already doing. Um, do let me know. So this is session 81. Wow, yes. Interesting. Truly interesting. Well, this is session 81. Like joke, like play. We have done 81 sessions here on Facebook. So this is session 81. And we started this series. Well, the general series is called Conversations. And we've been having conversations on different things. We started um, with conversations on leadership. Sorry, my laptop is blinking. Okay, we started with conversations on leadership and we talked about different aspects of leadership. We took quite some time to get through that, and we're still going to have our leadership boot camp. It's just been delayed by one or two things, but we'll still have our leadership boot camp because a lot came out of those conversations that I think I need to press in more or give more insight and also bring in other insights also. So we will still do our boot camp. Hopefully it will happen before the end of this year. If not, then early next year. But the leadership boot camp is still in the works. It's still in the works. Please, when you join, do let me know. Let me know that you're here with me. Let me know that you're enjoying the sessions and all that. So after the conversations on leadership, we went on to conversations on rest. Yes, we have talked about, how to lead, how to, do all those things, but then to truly, truly be a leader, To truly be effective as a leader, you need rest. Because the tendency as a leader is to just keep going and going and going. Even as a regular, even if you're not leading anyone, you're just leading yourself. The tendency is just to keep going and going and going and no rest. This hustle mentality that we have adopted in this generation makes people just keep going and going, working and working, because we believe that the more we work, the more we achieve. But that is actually a fallacy. It's not truth. The truth is that you work and you rest. So we've been talking about rest for a while. We started with just a general definition of rest. What is rest? And we say that it's just a state of ceasing work or ceasing physical activity, so that you can rest, so that you can relax, so that you can refresh, so that you can recover, so that you can recharge. If you're taking a break from physical activity or from work and you're not refreshing, you're not recharging, then you're not truly resting. That was what we talked about in the first session in this series, which was session 77. The next session, 78, we talked about the different types of rest: physical rest, emotional rest, spiritual rest. And we before we discussed all the different types of rest. Then session 79, we looked at rest versus productivity, because generally it's seen that rest and productivity are on opposite sides. That is the way we generally view it, but they are not on opposite sides. They are complementary. They're actually complementary. For you to be productive, especially in this fast-paced generation, this fast-paced society that we find ourselves in now, you need rest in order to be productive. You need to build in rest into whatever you are doing. You need to build in rest, into your whole day. You need to build in rest into your whole activities. Even if it's short naps, but you need to build in rest. Even if it's just to put down all the gadgets, everything, and just rest. It's essential for you to be productive, for you to be effective in this fast-paced world. Otherwise, you will break down and the world continues, and someone else takes that place that you are struggling for. That is just the truth. And the last session, we looked at the cultural perspective on rest. We tried to look at how cultures consider rest. What things, if any, have been inculcated into our cultural upbringing that helps with rest. And we looked at cultures both within Nigeria and outside, and we saw that many cultures put in rest as part of their heritage. We talked about the places where siesta is a must, and in enforcing that, people shut down their shops, their businesses in the afternoon to take naps. We talked about all those things. So we talked about also the aspect of meditation, which is a crucial part of a lot of cultures also. And meditation is also a type of rest, because you are not actively thinking about whatever is happening at that time. You take out time and you give the mind a rest. I also told us that, because when we talk of meditation, the tendency is to just look at it from the Eastern religious perspective, but meditation is something also in our Christian walk. We meditate on the word. Now, unlike those other people that blank their minds in quotes and don't think about anything, we also, in quote, blank our mind, but we think on the word of God. We allow the word of God to fill our minds. And then that helps us to rest. Because remember that when we talked about the different types of rest, we talked about spiritual health, rest. We said that spiritual rest is you're getting more into the word, getting more into prayer, getting more into knowing God. That is what brings spiritual rest. So meditation is a key part of that rests. That was the only type of rest that involves doing more. Every other type of rest meant taking away something, stopping working, dropping the phones, social media, and all those things. But spiritual rest involves you getting more into prayer, getting more into meditating on the word, getting more into reading the word, studying the word, and all those things. So, those were the things we talked about previously. That's a quick recap on what we have talked about on rest so far. So today, please let me know if my video is bright. To me, it's looking dark. I don't know whether it's me. Now, my lights are all on, but it's looking dark to me. So please do let me know as you join if it is bright enough. I don't even know what I can do to improve it, but just let me know so that I will look at it. All right. So today we are looking at barriers to rest. That's things that prevent us from truly resting. The things that, we give as excuses truly why we don't rest, because there are many, but I'm just going to take a few, and we're just going to look at it and consider how can we overcome these barriers, because they exist. They are not imaginary. They are not frivolous. They actually are there. They exist, but we can overcome them. That is the key thing. We can overcome them and then improve our life in overcoming these barriers. And the first barrier that I'm going to talk about is work demands. Now, this covers both work on the side of you're working, you're an employee, and work on the side of you are the employer, you are the entrepreneur, you are the person that's, the boss, in quote. So most times, because of pressure of work, because of the quantity of work that we have to do, the work becomes a barrier for us to rest. It becomes an excuse for us not to take any rest. Because, they exist. The pressures are there. You can't say they are not there. The pressures are there. There are deadlines to meet. There are targets to meet. They are there. You can't take away from that. They exist. They are there. As an entrepreneur, you have to make sales, otherwise you go hungry. Your competitors are not resting, in quotes. They are working, they are producing things, they are marketing, they are out there in front of everybody. So you do the pressure to do more, to utilize your whole 24 hours complete is there. Kelechi, welcome. I'm glad you joined me this afternoon. Yeah. How are you doing today? I hope you are good. So the pressures, they're there. We can't deny that the pressures exist. For some people who work, you have to work long hours, you have to work longer hours than you're even used to. And it's not because you're not being efficient, it's because the work is so much. Some places, because of the economy, because of the situation, a job that 3 people used to do, some people had to be let go, and it's now one person doing all those jobs. So the pressures exist. They are there. Nobody's denying that the pressures exist. But there is always a but, right? But the onus is on you. It's not even on your job. It's not on your anything, not on society. The onus is on you to be able to lay down boundaries between work and personal life. Sometimes it does get blurred, the lines between work and personal life. It gets blurred, especially when you're an entrepreneur, because your work is your life, but still, there is a need to lay down those clear boundaries. You have to be able to distinguish between work hours and personal time. You just have to do it. There is no quick fix. There is no 7 steps I will give you. No, because for each person is actually different. But you have to develop those boundaries and keep to it. It's not just to develop the boundaries, keep to those boundaries. Be able to separate work from your personal life. Be able to say, okay, it's easier for someone that is in paid employment, actually, it is much easier. You can say work is from 9 to 5. Once I close from 5 o'clock, done, finished. It's much easier for someone that is working, in paid employment to develop those boundaries and keep them. But even they also blur the lines. But I think it's a bit easier because I was in paid employment and I know how easy it is to encroach upon personal time just to ensure that you finish and quote the work that you have. It's very easy, but we must learn to put in those boundaries and keep to them. For you that is an entrepreneur who, your like I said, your work is your life. It looks like how do I do that? How do I begin to separate work and life? You also can. Give yourself working hours. Honestly, it's doable. Give yourself working hours. Know that once it's 7 o'clock or something, work stops. Now, this does not mean that somebody sends you a message and they require something, you will not respond. You will respond to the message, but you will tell the person that I will attend to this in the morning. We have working hours. Our business, is from 8 to 7 or something. Initially, you may lose some people. You may, keyword is may, because that is the fear. That is what keeps us as entrepreneurs from putting these boundaries. We think we'll lose customers if we don't attend to them 24 hours of the day. But the fact, Seb, that you established working hours and you keep to it should even give you some customers. Any, let me say, reasonable customer, let me use that word, will know that you are not a machine. You also need to rest. What some people do, they have this auto response they put on their business lines so that when you call outside of working hours, it will send you a message saying, we will attend to you. We are not available now. Maybe we have closed for the day. We'll attend to you when we reopen. Good. That is a good way to put those boundaries. See, technology helps us. That is a good way to put in those boundaries. The only caveat I would have to that is that ensure that once you open in the next morning, you attend to that person. Because I've had situations where I sent a message to a business line. I didn't know it was a business line anyway, but I did. And I got one of those auto responses, and the person never got back to me. So, let's also, it's a balancing act. Be sure that even as you're putting the boundaries, as you're establishing these processes, these rules for your business, that you do keep to them. So that is how to help in dealing with work demands. One thing that I know that we also struggle with, especially those of us that are in paid employment, is being able to utilize those 8 hours we're in the office properly. Don't spend those 8 hours whittling away on the phone, doing things that are not relevant. No. Ensure that the 8 hours you spend in the office is 8 solid hours for the office. Try as much as possible to not waste those times. Manage your time properly. Then when you go home and shut down and you're not doing office work, you will not be feeling guilty that I left things undone. You will not be feeling guilty because you did the best you could. You did everything possible. It looks like I hope this has not now gone off now. Wonderful. Okay. Our sorry, this is it. Our mic took off. Okay. Please let me know if you can still hear me. I hope I didn't um, inadvertently turn off the mic without knowing. Okay, let me just do my sound check as I always do to be sure that I'm being heard. Okay. Okay, so please let me. I always do. All right, so yes, I didn't spoil everything by touching the microphone. All right, so I was talking about work pressures, work demands, and how it can be a barrier to your resting, and how you can take care of that barrier. I think I've talked about this before. Even for an entrepreneur, this will help you doing time blocking. That is allocating specific time slots in your day to some tasks. Okay, thank you, Ma. Thank you for letting me know that the mic is still on. When you do time blocking, welcome, Agnes Samuel Ledger. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. So when you do time blocking, when you allocate specific time slots for tasks, whether you're in paid employment or you're an entrepreneur, it makes you utilize the, let's say, 8 hours you have fixed if you're an entrepreneur. But if you're in the office, we know it's 8 or 9 hours, whatever. You utilize it to the full. Because I know what happens to most of us when we're not able to take a break, when we're not able to establish the boundaries between work and personal life. It's the guilt that I didn't do all that I could. I have so many things still outstanding. But when you do time blocking, when you're able to allocate specific time slots to specific tasks, and you know that you utilize that time for that task, when it's time to shut down, you can shut down with confidence. But when you have, trifold your time, whittled away the time doing irrelevancies, you didn't really achieve what you should achieve. When it's time to shut down, you begin to think twice. So ensure, set up the boundaries, but also ensure that you are utilizing the time you're supposed to use to work. Whether you're in the office or you're an entrepreneur, is the same principle. Make sure you're utilizing those times well. Yeah, because, like I said, it's guilt most times that makes us not to rest. It's not really that, we didn't do anything during our quote work time. It's the guilt that we didn't do enough. So when you are able to do enough, you can rest and rest comfortably. All right. I've given this example severally when I was working. I would tell myself, the extra time I give my office is between when I leave the office, that drive home, that's the extra time I give to the office. When I get home, I'm done. So I ensure that between 8, when work starts, because the work starts by 8, I don't arrive at the office at 8. These are the little things that we can do that will help us. Work starts at 8. So 8 o'clock, I am working. I'm not just now trying to settle down by 8 o'clock. I've settled down. I've started my system. I've set all my alarms on my system. 8 o'clock, I start work. Sometimes before 8, but the point is, from that point till 5, when work closes, I ensure that I have blocked out tasks, specific slots of time for specific tasks. I even block out rest into my time. I've said this to us severally using Outlook. So when I've given like 2 hours straight or 3 hours straight to work, concentrated work, my alarm goes off on my laptop. It's time for me to stand up and walk around. See, that is rest. Once I walk around that 10 minutes, most times at most, I come back, another block of 3 hours concentrated work. You can also do this if you're an entrepreneur. Establish those routines, establish them. Make sure you're doing those times of concentrated work. Block out those times. And then have the times to rest. There is honestly, the business you lose in quotes, because the point is that if they welcome, Peter, welcome. Yes, on the way, soldier, you don't come back. I can see. Welcome. I'm glad you joined me this afternoon. So when we are doing, our businesses, and we are not able to establish these boundaries, we're not able to establish these times of rest, we are really not as productive as we think. And that's one or two customers we think that will run away because they called by 8 p.m. and we didn't attend to them. Really, I don't think they're enough. Because if they go to a supermarket, the supermarket is shut down, would they not go home? They will go home. Maybe they will go and look for a market that's open 24 hours, possibly. But when they're dealing with established brands, let me use that word, they keep to the rules, in quote, of that brand. So if, for example, the person wants to buy something from, let's just say, Everyday Supermarket, because that's something that's near my house, and I know that Everyday Supermarket closes by 9. 9:30, I have no business driving to Everyday Supermarket. I have no business because it's closed. That does not mean that tomorrow I will not go to Everyday Supermarket. It doesn't, because there are some things that I know that buying from Everyday Supermarket is just the best for me. You see, so when you offer value to people, they will respect your boundaries. But when you're not really offering value like that, they quickly try someone else. So please establish the boundaries. Ensure, yes, you're doing all the best you can so that you don't have guilt because of having to shut down. Do the best you can. Block out time. Face your tasks. Achieve them as much as you can. And then block out the time to rest, please. Very, very important. Very, very essential. Another barrier to our having rest is what I would call, let me call it stress. When we are under pressure, this comes from, it's like an offshoot of the work demands that we just talked about. When we are stressed, it might not even be stressed by work, it can be stressed by a lot of other things. The tendency is that we cannot rest when we are in a stressful situation. It just goes without saying. Now, like I said, the stress might not be because of work. It could not be, might not be work demands. You could be stressed in your home. You're having a stressful time. There's some issues. There's some anxiety in the home. There's some problems in the home. You generally cannot rest. This is one of the barriers to rest. Because when you're stressed, you can't sleep. You can't even shut down your brain. Because remember, rest is not just sleeping. It's being able to, stop work or stop activities so that the body can do what it naturally does, which is refresh itself. So if you're in any kind of stressful situation, maybe ill health, because that could be a stressful situation, or you're having any challenge around you, it is a barrier to you to rest. It is a barrier. But one of the things that can help in stressful situations is, I don't want to say meditation now, but it is actually. But, okay, for example, me personally, let me use myself. If I am becoming overwhelmed by whatever is happening, any situation whatsoever, one of the ways that I cool down my brain, cool down my system, is to go for a walk. I didn't know this before. Let me not even say, I did not realize how therapeutic walking can be. This is not even exercise walking now. No, just walk. And as you're walking, you're not thinking about whatever is the stressful situation. You are just walking. Maybe notice that the flowers around your house are dying or something, Notice that, oh, this tree, excuse me, as long as it's not going to be added stress. So notice that, oh, this tree is not fruiting as well as it should. Oh, the skies today are gray. They're not as bright as they used to be. Something that is not going to put extra pressure. walk around and just allow the stress to ooze out of your body. I've already talked about meditating on the word of God because for me, that is one of the greatest stress relief I've ever seen. I don't know about any other person. No. I don't know how it works for any other person, but it works for me like magic. I pick up one verse of the Bible and I sit with it. Before you know it, I've forgotten what was worrying me. I've forgotten all the things, all the stress, all the drama. And I'm concentrated on that word, on what it is saying to me and what it means to me. That is one of my greatest stress relievers. You can try it. You can try it. It works. I'm telling you, it works. But also, walking works. For some people, actual exercising works to release stress. But you have to find really what works for you. You have to find what works for you, because what works for one person might not work for the other. For somebody, walking might become a stressor, not a stress reliever. So look at it. Being able, okay, eBay says music does it for him. For some people, it's music, truly. You just put on music and you concentrate on the lyrics of the song and you leave all the drama that is happening around you. That is rest. That is a form of rest. So find what works for you. For some people, it's journaling. That's writing down their emotions, writing down their feelings in their journal. It is what relieves stress, relieves anxiety for them. If that works for you, go ahead and journal. For some people, it's even reading a book, a novel, of course, now not a book that is making you think 1,000 thoughts. No. Then read if that's what works for you. But you have to discover your own stress relief method, your best stress, let me say best, not your own. Discover it and use it. I cannot overemphasize the benefits of giving yourself, your body, your mind rest. I can't overemphasize the benefits. So stress is a barrier, and you can take care of that barrier by, looking at all the stress relief things we have talked about: walking, meditating, reading, journaling, listening to music. Whatever works for you, find the one that really works for you and then apply it. Then, of course, one great big barrier to us to rest is societal pressures. My mates, they are married. They have 5 children already. Here I am. I've not married. Societal pressure. See, because there's something that happened to me that made me realize that there's actually others that add some of these pressures to us. Now, I had my first son quite early, immediately after marriage. I had my first son. Between my first and my second son is 5 years. And for the first 3 years of my first son's life, I did not realize that he was an only child. I don't know if you understand me. Of course, I know he's the only one there, but I didn't give it any thought. I really did not bother myself to say, oh, you're not pregnant again. Oh, I did not. I didn't. Until somebody visited me and said to me, is this boy not old enough to have a sibling? There started the problem. That simple talk put me on a journey of finding out what is wrong with me. All this, I didn't think anything was wrong with me. I was comfortable. I was okay. So society, even our culture, can put stress on us, whether we realize it or not. And it does. Just like I said, the person that is not married, oh, you are finished, the young lady, they don't really bother men with this one. You've graduated from university. The next thing everyone is expecting you to marry. What do you know that you're even getting married? Leave some of us that married early. We didn't know anything and we still married. We know nothing about marriage. But those are stressors and they're a barrier for you to truly rest. I've mentioned the hustle culture right from the beginning when I started this series, this hustle structure. Everybody's hustling. No, you must not hustle. You will work hard. You will do the needful, but see that idea of hustle, it makes us think that there is no room for rest. These are some of the societal barriers to our resting. You're constantly comparing yourself with the next person. You're believing that the longer you work, the more productive you are. No, societal pressure. Some people feel that, if they, when I tell people that I take naps in the afternoons now that I'm not working, they look at it as if this woman is lazy. Somebody has basically told me that. And I laugh because me, I know what I am doing. It's not laziness. So I know what I am doing. Before the time I take that nap, I know what I have done. I know what I have achieved. And if I've not achieved those things, I'm not taking the nap. But I ensure that somewhere in my day, now, like I said, now, not when I was working, who give me nap? Where am I getting the nap from? Even though sometimes I used to sneak power naps when the pressure is too much, I can't deal with that. My 10 minutes that I'm supposed to walk around, I take quick 5 minute nap, get up, walk around for 5 minutes, and come back and continue working. But see, it didn't stop, it didn't reduce my productivity in the office. It actually improved it. When you're working while you're tired, you are not at your optimum. You are not producing anything at that point. Check the quality of work you do when you're tired and the quality of work you do when you are rested. Just check it. Coach Comforts, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Glory Kano, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Coach Ifi, welcome. I'm glad you joined me this afternoon. We are talking about the barriers to our resting. And I'm talking right now about the societal and cultural pressures. Story. Ibe says that means societal pressure is not 100% bad because you could have unconsciously not had other kids. The pressure gave you awareness. Maybe I'm not saying it's totally bad. Maybe it gave me awareness, but it put me under pressure that I didn't need. Because for the next at least one full year, I was running helter skelter, checking this, checking that, and everything was fine. Nothing was wrong with me. Nothing was wrong with my husband. So that pressure for me was actually unnecessary because it is after I let go that stress of, okay, finding out what is wrong and rested truly before I took in for the next child. It wasn't even during that time of trying to find out. During that time of trying to find out, see, that's another thing I always tell people who are waiting to have children. When you're stressed, your body will not even take in. That is how God created the woman. In that time that you're pressured, that you're stressing, that you're checking your calendar every month, nothing happens. It's when you relax. That is when something will happen. So, yes, it made me conscious of the fact that I only had one child, but it also put an undue pressure on my system so that the system itself could not function. Because all the tests, everything was good. Not even one of the tests showed any small something is nothing. So until I was done with all that stressing and worrying and relaxed, and went back to resting and being comfortable with me, my husband, and my son, then the next child came in. So let me leave it there. Let me not say too much about that. But truly, these societal pressures take away our ability to rest and relax and recharge and renew. They take it away. I've seen people because they don't have any children, their mother-in-law is on them, this person is on them, that person is on them. And every month they are checking, every month. They are worried every month. When it's getting towards that time of the month, their whole system turns upside down. You cannot take in under those situations. So we can see that maybe there's some, there is nothing that is 100% bad. There's always some element of good in things, but we have to find that element of good. So societal pressures, we can overcome them. We really can. For example, see this hustle culture. Please, if you are one of the people that are in this hustle culture, I can't rest. I have to be working 24 hours. The longer hours I work, the more I achieve. No, it's not true. You must give yourself, your body, the time to recharge, especially your brain. See, if your brain is not having that time to recharge, if it's not having that time to detoxify itself, because that is what the brain does when we're at rest. It recharges itself, renews, does reconnections of anything that may have disconnected, and then it detoxifies itself. When you're not giving your brain that time to do that, it will do it for you. It will shut down by itself. This is how our bodies are created. It will shut down by itself and get that refreshing it needs and get that recharging. The only thing is that it, of course, is not doing it optimally now because it was a forced shutdown. So please see this hustle culture, tone it down. Work hard, yes, work hard. Do not be lazy. But understand that in working hard, there has to be a time to rest. Very, very essential. Very, very essential. Rest is important. We must recharge. Of course, the environmental factors that also, okay, I have to just check time quickly, that are also barriers to our resting. There are maybe, if you're in Nigeria, NEPA has taken their electricity. There's no light. And you're uncomfortable. There's no air conditioner or something, you're uncomfortable. That is a very big barrier to rest. I don't know if it's for every other person, but it is a barrier to rest. These things exist. That you are in a noisy environment is a barrier to rest. But see, somebody like me, when I say this thing, people are like, are you even human at all? I can stay where people are shouting, as in music is blasting, boom, 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 and I sleep. I wasn't always like this. Let me say it here now. I was not always like this. I had to train myself basically to find rest in the midst of noise. It's not easy. I can't even explain how I did it, but somehow. Just like also in the midst of a crowd of people talking, I can tune out. And I am not hearing I cannot understand what people are saying because it's not registering in my brain. I was not always like that. It is something I learned because of the environment I found myself at a point. So yes, environmental factors can be a barrier to our rest, but we can also find solutions. We can find a way around them. If you live in a noisy environment, and maybe you can relocate. Maybe you can relocate. Noise pollution is a hindrance. It really is. Maybe you can relocate, but if it's impossible for you to relocate at that time, you have to find a way to deal with the noise. Get you noise canceling headsets. Get you some noise canceling headsets. So when that noise is, you put your headset and you're listening to serene music that is uplifting. That is a way to deal with that noise. If noise is the barrier that is in your environment, if it is a lack of electricity, we have rechargeable fans and things like that now. We have them. They can help. Or you lie on the floor. True. This life is really not hard though. We're the ones that make it very hard. Lie on the floor. There is nothing, especially if you have tiled floor. Just lie on the floor. You'll even jump up from cold entering your body. We do make things hard for ourselves sometimes. Sometimes. I am careful to say that. So lie on the floor if that is what it will take for you to get some rest in the midst of the environmental factors that are preventing you from resting. So there is no power, get rechargeable fans. You're not able to get hey, the people that know me right inside my house, they have come out to say, "Now your mama give you that treat of sleeping in a noisy place." Maybe, but I didn't even have it initially. Is in time I began to see that I could do it. I didn't know I had it. So maybe you might be right. Who knows? So make the best of the environment. Don't allow the environment to be your barrier. Find a way to overcome the barrier. Very, very essential and very important. Like I said, if there is no power, rechargeable lamp, rechargeable fan, you're not able to afford a rechargeable fan, please lie on the floor and get the coolness from the floor. There is nothing wrong with that. Is allowed. The place is noisy. Get noise canceling headsets. They help. You can't afford noise canceling headsets. Normal earplugs too work. Oh, they actually work. You can't afford any of those. Begin to develop the ability to sleep in the midst of noise. Tell yourself, I have to rest, I have to sleep, and begin to sleep in the midst of noise. Just find if the problem is maybe too much phones, social media overstimulation from um, phones, gadgets, drop them, keep them. The world will not end. The world will not end if you're not on social media. It really will not. I'm telling you because I've done social media. It's not rest. It's not luxury, babe. It's not luxury. This is part of why we don't rest because we think rest is luxury. It's not because your brain needs you to rest so that it can recharge, so that it can detoxify, so it can reconnect any things that disconnected throughout your day. So it's not a luxury, it's actually a necessity. If you're not able to rest, maybe you're thinking of sleep now. See, because I said rest is not just sleep, it's not just sleeping, it's shutting off or shutting down from too much thinking, it's shutting down from too much stimulation of the brain. It's not just sleeping. So it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's very, very important. It's very, very, very important. So I think we have looked at, okay, of course, one barrier could also be, you have health challenges. It could be a barrier from you resting. For example, I know like men that have prostate issue, they get up thousands of times to go and ease themselves in the night, which makes their sleep not real rest, honestly, because that is not sleep. When you're waking up more than 2, 3 times to go and ease yourself, or maybe you have some hormonal imbalance and is affecting your sleep rhythm and all those things, this can also be a barrier to our resting. Or you have some pain, I think that pain on is one of the more difficult to not to overcome because you're in pain. How do you rest? How do you shut down? You know, but the health challenges that are barriers are a bit more, will I say, difficult to handle because it depends on really what is that health challenge. But get yourself checked out, find out really what is wrong. There must be some kind of treatment for it. Um, Once again, because sometimes when I talk about um, the benefits of like meditating on the word, people think I'm being religious. It's not a matter of religion, really. It's not religion. It's a matter of truth. Even for health related issues, when you spend time thinking on the things that the Bible says concerning you, it begins to affect your physical body. It does. For example, you're not feeling well, you're sick, and instead of spending time worrying about the sickness per se, you spend that time thinking on what the Bible says about you, on how the Bible says you're well, or it's different things. There can be there are so many promises concerning our physical bodies, and you spend time thinking about this. Science has proved that whatever you spend more time thinking about begins to become your reality. This is even science. So meditating on the Word of God will help in taking care of this health related um, issues that bring our inability to rest, that bring a barrier, that cause a barrier to our rest. It works. It works. Of course, live a healthier life, eat better, because really a lot of the sicknesses that we are facing, a lot of them is because of what we are eating. So eat better. It takes some discipline, but it's better. I'm not saying, I don't believe in don't eat carbohydrates, don't eat this. No, moderate. Be moderate in what you eat. Eat more of the vegetables, the fruits, and all that, and less of the carbohydrates, but not that you cut it off. You need carbohydrates in your system. I've never advocated all these fat diets. So, there is a lot that we can do to incorporate rest. You see, when you're eating well, let me even say that when you're eating well, when you're eating healthy, you're actually giving your body a rest because it's not struggling digesting all the complex carbohydrates you're throwing into the system. Your body is resting because it's not working so hard to digest the foods you're giving it. You see that rest is not just sleep. This is one thing I want us to truly, truly get in this series. Rest is not just sleep. Sleep is an aspect of rest, but we need to inculcate different kinds of rest into our day, into our schedule, into our life, so that we are a more efficient and effective system. Holy. All right, so today we looked at some barriers to our resting. We considered a few things, and we talked about work demands and the need for us to set clear boundaries between work, between our personal life, the need to prioritize tasks, to block out time for tasks and all that, to schedule focused time of work, and then times to rest, times to take our mind off whatever work happens to be at that time for us. We talked about managing our stress levels, our anxiety levels, because this can stop us from truly resting. And we can do meditation, we can walk, journal, read, listen to music. Whatever helps you de-stress will help you rest. Okay. We talked about societal. Wow. My tongue did not want to work with my brain right there now. Societal pressures. And we talked about the need to redefine really what productivity is. It's not working 24 hours. It's not. It's being able to, even if you work 3 hours, let those 3 hours produce results. So schedule regular downtime without guilt. Remember that I said that part of why we don't rest is the feeling of guilt. Part of why we don't set boundaries between work and our lives, personal lives, is guilt. It's the guilt of, oh, I didn't do all I should have. But when you schedule yourself better, the guilt reduces, and in time it goes, and you can rest without guilt. Because if you're resting and you're still feeling guilty, you are not truly resting. You are not really resting, because that feeling of guilt is still it has your mind working when it shouldn't. I don't know if we get what I'm saying. It floods your body with chemicals at that time that is not encouraging the rest we're trying to get. So enjoy guilt-free downtime by ensuring that the time that you're working, you are putting in your best there. Concentrated time of work, focused time of work. This is both for those that are in paid employment and those that are self-employed. The entrepreneurs have focused times of work and then set aside time to take a break, to rest. Optimize your environmental factors, whatever they may be. There's always a way to optimize them. Make your environment as comfortable as it can be for you. It's not a matter of, you have money. It doesn't always take money to make yourself comfortable. The example I gave of sleeping on the floor. If you can't afford to get a rechargeable fan, please sleep on the floor. There is nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's the mindset that, oh, it will look like my own worse. No. See, I've learned something in these my years of life on this earth, and is that my life is my life. I cannot compare my life to yours. I cannot gauge my own life with yours. I really can't. And I shouldn't. This is how we add pressure to ourselves unknowingly. There is your name, even if your name happens to be Ngozi, even if by some coincidence it happens to be Ngozi Chukwuka, which is my full name, and by another strange coincidence your name is Ngozi Chukwuka Onwocholoba, you are still not me, and I'm still not you. We can never be. So I don't have to compare myself. I don't have to measure myself against you. The only person I should measure myself against is me. The only person I should be competing against is me. That's the me of yesterday. That is the person I should be competing against to ensure that the Ngozi of today is better than the Ngozi of yesterday. There is no need comparing yourself to your neighbor. That is just adding stress to yourself. Rest, please. Take a rest from that comparison. It doesn't help you in any way. It doesn't. So ensure that you optimize your environmental factors. This came up because I was talking about sleeping on the floor. And somebody will say, why would I sleep on the floor? It looks like my own is worse. Your own is not worse. You need to get cool. The weather is hot. There is, no power currently. National grid collapsed, whatever. You don't have the money currently to get a rechargeable fan. Sleep on the floor. Somebody told me something one time. I'm trying to think of how to say this without giving up who it is, because the person might be here, I don't know, or she might watch it later. So I'm trying not to give up. Anyway, somebody told me something about something that I do. Let me just put it like that. Something in my appearance anyway. And when she said it, I don't know the expectation, because of course I'm not inside the person's head. But, she has gauged and felt that for my level, I have grown beyond this, using this particular thing. And for me, it wasn't a matter of a level. It's a matter of I don't have interest. Now, she doesn't know this. She has no idea. She has no idea that I didn't have interest in this thing. But in her own assessment, I have grown beyond not using this thing. Now, I could begin to say, oh, Okay, that's true. People of my level, I don't even know what people of my level means. This is one thing that I do that has saved me from stress. I don't know what people of my level do. I don't even want to know. It's not important to me. People of my level, see that thing, that comparison, I don't know it. So when she brought it up, I was like, thank you. I really appreciate what you're saying. And you could be right. And I will look at it. End of story. I did not bother myself. It does not mean that I did not appreciate her telling me. I appreciated her telling me because she could have kept it to herself and, marked it as something against me, but she said it out. So, but for me, there's nothing like people of my level. There's nobody that's my level, truly. I'm telling you the truth. My own level is my level. Nobody else is there with me. Nobody. So I'm not comparing to anybody. Nobody is of my level. So let's learn how to take away that stress from us. See, this is a type of rest now. This thing that I just told you now, this thing I told myself that nobody is of my level, there's nobody I'm comparing myself to. That is rest because it takes away stress from me. It takes away that time of trying to meet up. I don't have to meet up with anybody. So this is a form of rest. Um, okay, so make the person to understand that sleep is a fraction of rest. There are forms of rest according to your teachings. Maybe you can elaborate more for clarity. Okay, I actually dealt with types of rest in our second session 77 or so. Uh, okay, so it says so if you can't lay on the floor, you can as well sit down and take a lot of water and rest. Yes, really. I dealt with types of rest. Let me see if I can do a quick. Time has passed, but let me just see if I can find um, do a quick recap on the types of rest. Okay, we have physical rest, of course, which is what we know as sleep and maybe just sitting quietly. We have mental rest, that's giving your brain a rest, not thinking, not doing much intense thinking and just, or problem solving, just giving your brain a rest. No stopping too much thinking, take breaks, disconnect from anything that makes you overthink. That is a type of rest. We have emotional rest, giving your emotions a rest, processing your feelings instead of just allowing them to, fester somewhere. Process them, understand why you're feeling what you're feeling. Give your emotion, give yourself emotional rest. Express your feelings so that they're not bottled up. That bottling up of your feelings gives you added stress. So, emotional rest. Um, Sensory rest, which is take away your phones, shut down the TV sometime. It's not every time you must be on the TV. It's not every time you must be on your phone. Shut down those things. Stop bombarding your senses with stimuli. That is sensory rest. Which other one? Social rest. Take a break from too much socializing. Sometimes it is essential to withdraw from some social interactions, especially if they are draining you. You will know when a social interaction is draining you. Take a rest from it. This is social rest. Um, I talked about spiritual rest, I believe. I mentioned it in the process of today's session. Spiritual rest, reconnecting with your sense of purpose, reconnecting with your maker. See, that's like I said, this is the only one that involves you doing more instead of doing less. Reconnecting with your maker. Pray, meditate, reflect, read your Bible, study the word. Spiritual rest. It refreshes everything. It brings peace. And spiritual rest is actually the one that affects the other rests. If you have true spiritual rest, it becomes easier to experience physical, emotional, and all these other rests. Environmental rest. Take yourself away from environment that is stressing you. I think those are the basic types of rest that I discussed in the session that we dealt with types of rest. Okay, so I think we have to bring this session to a close here. Remember, these barriers exist. They're not imaginary. The barriers to the rest that we talked about today, they're not imaginary. They exist, but we can find ways to overcome them. It's just to make up our minds and know that we need rest. We need rest in every ramification of that word. And then knowing that rest is not a luxury. It is not. It is a necessity for you to be healthy, for you to experience optimal health, for you to be a complete person. Rest is optimal. For you to even be productive and do all that you need to do, for you to have complete well being, you need rest. And each of us need to look at the things that are preventing us from resting and then find how to overcome those barriers to rest so that we will live healthy, balanced lives. All right. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Once again, it's always my pleasure to share this time with us. It's always my pleasure to share from my experiences, to share from what I know, from what I am learning with each and every one of us. And like I said, I welcome your comments because it helps me also to learn and also to grow. Thank you all for joining me once again. Remember to follow us on all our social media handles. Okay, so I really want to commend your efforts, Thus, for your level of consistency needs to be studied. I mean, even when it's just one person on your live, you keep yes. That is I've because I know that people watch the replay. They might not be on live, but they watch the replay. One, and I know that from honestly, I've had people send me messages, people that I had no idea even following me on Facebook. I didn't even realize they're my friends on Facebook. I didn't even know that they know what I'm doing. I've had them send me messages saying, "Oh, thank you for this session. I enjoyed this. Oh, thank you for this thing you said." So I am not bothered about one person on the live. It's not the, it's not the, that is not the target. Yes, it's for the people that will even watch the replay. Um, like one thing I've noticed, let me just say this quickly before I round up. By the time I end this live now and look at the statistics, I'll see 30 views, 50. Where were the people? Only one person or two was showing, on the live. The others, I don't know how they saw it. I don't know how it happens. But so, and I've decided not to bother about views, really. I don't even check most times whether 100 people viewed it, one person, even if it's just that one person, and that one person got value, that is the most important thing. So thank you all once again for joining me. I was saying you should follow us on all our social media handles. We are on Facebook, Growth Habits with Ngozi, Instagram, Growth Habits with Ngozi, TikTok, Growth Habits with Ngozi, YouTube, Growth Habits with Ngozi, and also follow my personal Facebook page, Ngozi Onwocholoba, which is where this live session is happening from. I'm also on Instagram, so just follow me everywhere. You will always get something of value, something of value. Also, please check out our journal. It's on Seller, it's on Amazon with the attendant book that goes with it, that has some prompts to help you know what to write in your journal. Please check it out and do support us by buying that journal and that book. Like I said, we'll still do our boot camp, leadership boot camp. I just need to work out one or two things that's been holding that up. I will put up the flyer once it's out, and we will ensure, please join the boot camp. If you are in any level of leadership, or you're even like I said when I did that series, leading from the back. There are people they are not the bosses, they are not the supervisors, they are amongst the people who are being led, but their actions is more like they are the ones leading. Please, once that flyer is out, join that leadership boot camp. I promise you, you will enjoy every minute of it. You will gain value and it will help you on your leadership journey. Okay, remember to make today and every day count as I conclude. Be valuable in all that you do and ensure that you are growing constantly. Thank you all so much for joining me once again. And those that watch the replay, thank you for connecting. Thank you for clicking on that video and watching it to the very end. Do have an awesome day. Bye.